Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. A soldier of the Indian Army has been injured in a sniper attack along the line of control in Keri Battal area of Jammu district's Akhnoor sector. People familiar with the development said that the sniper attack was carried out at around 8:30 p.m. and as per reports, 10 Pakistani troops carried out a sniper attack. Meanwhile, we are getting to know that the soldier has been shifted to a Harrison hospital in Akhnoor. This follows an unprovoked Pakistani ceasefire along the line of control in Poonch, which took place 2 days ago. While the Indian Army gave a befitting reply through its actions, the question that arises is, what is the immediate action that the government must take in order to contain something like this spiraling out of control? We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, former diplomat. Major General Rajan Kochar, defence expert, also with us on the program. Brigadier Rajan Jamwal, defence expert from Jammu and Kashmir, also joins us on the program. Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, also with us on the show. Professor Nalapat, I'll begin with you, sir. So, what is this an inkling of? What is this a sign of? If Pakistan is getting so clinical about its sniper attacks towards and across the border, does this mean something? Does India need to take preemptive action against Pakistan? So I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Look, the fact of the matter is that Pakistan feels a little emboldened that India will hold on to the ceasefire, and I think that is causing it to launch this kind of a cross-border attempt to kill our very brave Jawans. I think it's completely intolerable, and of course, apart from the fact that we make our protests, I think it's also a sign of desperation that they know that the Kashmir struggle is winding down, and they know very well it's winding down. So as a consequence, they are trying to shift the focus, and they're using this kind of provocation. I think, of course, that it is a provocation, it is a provocative move, and if it's a one-off incident, it's one thing. If it gets replicated, it's another. So if it's a one-off incident, it's a different matter than if it gets replicated. But the reality is, Pakistan can always be relied upon to create problems for India in one way or the other, not just in Kashmir, but across the country, assisted by the People's Republic of China. So, quite frankly, that is the situation that we face. I'm sure that the army will deal with it with its usual competence. But I would like to say that it is definitely a concerning move, and we have to see if it's a one-off or we have to see if it gets repeated. If it gets repeated, it's an entirely different issue altogether with.
All right. Ambassador Prabhu, there is zero diplomacy between India and Pakistan at this point in time. We have completely relegated and isolated Pakistan in whichever way we could. You have a new president at the helm of affairs in Pakistan. Does this, plot to something sinister that Pakistan also perhaps has done in the past and is repeating it?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. Professor Nalapat was absolutely right in his remarks. I have also seen a PTI report which said that the Pakistan army suffered heavy casualties after it resorted to unprovoked firing along the LoC. This was on Wednesday. But I have also seen a subsequent report which says that the Indian army, in an official statement, has said that the ceasefire along the line of control is intact and continues to be observed as per the understanding between both the armies. This statement has come after the reports of unprovoked firing by Pakistani troops in the Bindar sector of Jammu and Kashmir in the Poonch district. And the army has said tension due to some stray incidents of cross LoC firing and a suspected IED blast on the LoC is being dealt with through the established mechanism. No exchange of fire or heavy caliber weapons has taken place. Minor incidents are not unprecedented along the LoC. The army further said that it has raised concerns with the Pakistan army at the appropriate level. And I've seen the army statement which says the situation remains stable and is being closely monitored. Indian army maintains a high state of alertness and is dominating the line of control. So this is the updated position. Of course, it emphasizes that the Indian army is on top of the situation.
General Kocher, the army is on top of this position. Of course, we are going to be able to contain it as well. What would you attribute in your experience this unprovoked, unsolicited ceasefire violation to? Of course, it's not the first time. So obviously, we can pluck a number of precedents from the past.
Vineet, you're absolutely right. I think we are missing the larger picture here. The larger picture is that Pakistan is a repetitive defaulter, a repetitive offender of carrying out these incidents. These are not one-off incidents. You want to actually clarify that. And it's extremely important here to understand the design, the timing, and place. Because you see this area, Mandar, Poonch, Akhnoor, this entire belt, Pakistan has been focusing on infiltration along this belt for a couple of years now. And because the snow has melted now, and this year I believe there has not been much of a snowfall in these areas, that actually emboldens the Pakistanis to push in infiltration terrorists across. And according to intelligence reports, approximately 100 to 150 terrorists are waiting. Now, why this firing? Because of desperation, because time is running out, because Pakistan has to move these people inside to create disturbances inside our country. So, because of the vigil of the Indian army and the patrolling which takes place, see, these patrols are being targeted now. These movement of this patrol, you have a look at the weapons which have been recovered: anti-tank mine, activated anti-personnel mines. So, what does that mean? That means the intention is to disturb the vigil of the Indian army on the line of control by carrying out this ID blasts and to disturb the movements of our patrol. So the intention is very, very clear that the Pakistanis want to infiltrate people inside. A second important point I want to clarify is about the ceasefire. See, these one-off incidents which take place in a particular area, I would say, not exactly one-off, in a particular area where heavy fire is not being resorted to. Only small arms fire is taking place. So the ceasefire per se pertains to your artillery, all these heavy mortars, your guns. So those kind of firing is not taking place, and that is why the Indian army has made a statement that the ceasefire still stands, because these small arm firings are a very, very regular feature on the line of control, and the ceasefire has been going along for a couple of years now in spite of this small arms firing. The third aspect is what should India do? Because we have seen these things happening in a regular way. What kind of punitive action the Indian army or the Indian establishment is thinking of doing, that is extremely important, because we have to put an end to this. You cannot have a loss of lives, a young captain and a young soldier has lost his life here. You know, how much are we going to tolerate this from the Pakistanis? So when we talk about a surgical strike which happened in 2016, and we are aware of all the terrorist camps where these terrorists are being launched from these so-called launch pads. So I think there is a case in point to re-strategize this entire functioning on the line of control and have regular cross-border strikes on Pakistan with actionable intelligence, because unless you have a deterrence in place, unfortunately, Vineet, we are going to be discussing these incidents on the national TV. Thank you very much.
Absolutely right, sir. Brigadier Jamwal, so your assessment of the situation, and you agree that we also perhaps need to have a preemptive strategy. If something like this starts, we need to nip it in the bud. So you're muted.
The Munich byline. Yeah, Vineet, will you please repeat the question?
Brigadier Jamwal?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sir, I'll come to you. Let me just get a response from Brigadier Jamwal, then I'll come to you, sir. Brigadier Jamwal, sir.
Yeah, I was telling, if you read the statement by the Pakistan Army Chief Munir, just I think 3 to 4 days back, somewhere he had mentioned that we had fought 3 wars on Kashmir. If required, we'll fight 10 more. It was there in one of the papers I read just a couple of days back. You see, that is the mindset. If you are expecting whatever damage, irrespective of how much the cost we will increase to them, they will stop doing it. That's not going to happen. It is a raison d'etre for the Pakistan Army. That is why they exist. In case the whole issue is sorted out, there is no reason for the Pakistan Army, which is the establishment. So you, at the grander picture, you look at it at that level. They will continue to do it. Now the question is, what do we need to do? Of course, we are already making the cost much higher. Even the local incidents, what we talk about, localized line of control violations, be rest assured, the response is very, very violent. We may not always go in for artillery weapons, because the artillery guns are way behind this thing, and the whole lot of civilians, everybody comes to know. But we've got enough heavy weapons right on the LC. And most of the time, we would have seen some videos, we have even been able to obliterate some of the posts. So the cost is already being, they're trying to make it very heavy. However, what we further we need to do, I think there is a need for our theaterization of intelligence. We're talking about theaterization of command and all. Today the problem is, we get a lot of intelligence, but it comes in penny pockets, it comes to various agencies, and the same guy giving it to 10 agencies, and finally it gets corroborated, okay, 10 different people are talking. We need theaterization, and theaterization not only of intelligence, even of the force grid. Today you have multiple forces involved in counterinsurgency. There are turf wars, this thing. So, the militants or terrorists or Pakistan Army, at times they are able to take advantages of these, cracks in our grid. Minor cracks in our grids, they are able to take advantage. We need to obliterate it. And what I have come to know, things are moving in that direction, in the right direction. And soon you may see more synergization between our own forces and our own agencies. This thing. On the broader side, the cost we are putting across onto Pakistan probably is not enough. We need to make the Pakistan Army, which is the establishment there, to come on that table. So much more needs to be done. Probably even targeting their headquarters where their senior people are staying and all. That could be, I think, coming the next response where they actually feel the hurt. It is not only the troops deployed on the line of control, because I am looking at it, things will get escalated. The localized incidents at times have the tendency to, one commander accelerates it to one level, then it keeps getting accelerated. It may not be in our interest right now because of the development projects going on along the border to completely activate the whole LC, but periodically it needs to be done. It needs to be done periodically just to put them in the place.
All right, Professor Nalapat, here's my submission as well. Do you think that the recent meeting between the Prime Minister and Donald Trump where defense sales were discussed with India. The F-35 jets were also in fact discussed. Donald Trump has shown a lot of alacrity to bump those sales up. Secondly, the Prime Minister also went to France. He talked about the Hammer missile, a short-range missile that will be sold to India as well. Could that have anything to do with with this trickling in of aggression on behalf of Pakistan?
Well, I think we are at the cusp of some major transformations, especially in US-India relations, especially where sharing of technology and joint production is concerned, and frankly, in the access to the most high-performance weapon systems and platforms. Today, drones are playing a very significant role, and I'm sure that will be on the minds of our defense planners, and as it will be for ensuring that a lot of the drone production takes place in India. I think the answer, Vineet, is essentially that India should become a very, very significant platform for ensuring the production of weapons. Many of them may be weapons from the United States. I mean, personally, strategically, the United States is far bigger than France. And strategically, the United States has much more to offer us than France, because the French are talking in terms of equidistance between Washington and Beijing. Well, frankly, that doesn't make much sense in today's situation. Although, if you hear the speech of Vice President Vance at the Munich Security Conference, he said very clearly, you guys are responsible for your own security. We are not interested. And J.D. Vance has been a great booster of India-US relations, as have others like Mike Waltz, Tulsi Gabbard, and not to forget Kash Patel, in the Trump White House. So I would like to say that definitely Pakistan is upset. And I think there's some kind of a provocation here. And I do believe that intel must be there on what's happening inside Pakistan and what's happening inside the Pakistan army, because the situation may not be very, very stable inside the military, given the military is basically a mercenary army. And today, I think India is using both diplomatic dexterity as well as hard power to ensure that it is not bullied, least of all by countries such as Pakistan or even China. So I want to say, Vineet, you're perfectly right. I think the Pakistanis are afraid, and there's some US angle to this. There's no question about it. There's some US angle to this, and I think that angle must have been given to the Pakistanis to carry out by their friends in Beijing. Because the Chinese and of course the Russians are very anxious to see that a deeper defense relationship does not happen between India and the US, when several high-level policymakers in Washington and now increasing in Delhi are coming to the view that that kind of a relationship is very important for the future of both the biggest democracies in the world. Vineet.
You're absolutely right, sir. It definitely does feel that the results that have come out of these wonderful conversations, General Kocher, could have also led to this turmoil in Pakistan, as is the case whenever India does something or forges an alliance or bumps up its defense budget. There seems to be this telltale message that Pakistan tries to send through these cowardly modes.
Absolutely right, Vineet. I think this has had a very large impact, and especially the kind of deals which are going to happen in the next 1 year, and a roadmap for the next 10 years with the United States. There is a defense framework which has been made for the next 10 years, and the kind of technology we are going to share, or United States is going to share with us. You see, Pakistan army has got its own problems today. Let us not forget Baluchistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where the Pakistan army, more than one division of the army is deployed there on the Afghanistan border, and heavy casualties Pakistan army is actually facing. As a matter of fact, the ISI has even made overtures to the ISIS Khorasan to start targeting Afghanistan. They went further when the ISI chief went to Kazakhstan, and he was trying to influence them to make the Northern Alliance also start attacking the Taliban. So Pakistan army is quite desperate right now, and the normalcy which is coming to Jammu and Kashmir is just not palatable to them, and that is why this effort for infiltration. And let me assure you, Vineet, because I keep on discussing with the serving officers, we have an excellent intelligence, counter terrorism and counter infiltration grid right now in Jammu and Kashmir. And that is why they are compelled to carry out these kind of incidents to try to push in those people who are sitting across the border. But I don't think it is going to happen. They have, as Brigadier Jamwal has also brought out, that whatever the Indian Army does not publicize it. The kind of operations on the line of control, the retaliatory strikes which the Indian Army must be doing right now as we are speaking, will not be known to anybody. So the pinch is going to be felt on the Pakistanis, especially the Pakistan Army, and especially those terrorist groups like the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed and the offshoot People Anti-Fascist Front, who has claimed the responsibility for the IED blast. So you can make out they are trying to deflect this and not say that the Pakistan army is doing it, but a terrorist organization is doing it. So it is very, very clear that the Pakistanis are unsettled with the kind of strides India is making, especially with the United States and the Striker combat vehicle, the javelins coming in, MQ-9B drones also coming in, and the latest acquisition for the F-35, because Pakistan does not have a match in case we are able to get either F-35 or Su-57, which we are likely to get. So it's all a combination of factors, infiltration on one side, the messaging on one side, and trying to unsettle the Indian army, and I don't think they'll succeed with it.
All right, Brigadier Jamwal, concluding thoughts from you on what does this mean for India? Is this something that's just going to be slipped under the carpet by India, or do we need to make some changes in terms of our strategy towards Pakistan? And of course, we'll also take a reaction from Ambassador Prabhu Dayal and then wrap up.
You see, Pakistan Army, rightly General Kochhar brought out, it is under tremendous pressure. Basically their image is going down. The beating they are taking on the Afghanistan border, Northwest Frontier Province and Balochistan, the number of casualties, just count this last year. The number of casualties they have suffered. It is their prestige which is going down. And like I said before, Pakistan Army is the establishment. Once they lose people's faith, their raison d'etre doesn't exist. So it is forced to carry out, keep activating this Kashmir issue, and they keep bringing in this terrorists. So they will keep doing it. On our part, you see, we were talking about the relationship with America. Apart from this big military hardware which is coming, actually I think the main, which I count among the deterrent capabilities, the main thing that would be coming would be the intelligence gathering, the covert operation support, those kind of things which were earlier against us. Now we have also developed our covert capabilities, and the new deep state, if the US has, it supports us of that will be the game changer. Not only with Pakistan, but even other places.
All right, you're absolutely right, sir. Ambassador Dayal.
Well, let me tell you that I served in Pakistan in the early 1980s. At that time, General Ziaul Haq was in power. And what I noticed was that power is ultimately controlled in Pakistan by the army. Even if there is a civilian government, the army calls the shots, the army controls policy, and the army's unavowed policy, something that it has not given up, is relentless hostility towards India. Army generals speak at their staff colleges and speak of bleeding India by 1,000 cuts. This is an open secret. So we have been prepared for Pakistan's hostility, and the army is always in the front line of action. The army knows what is to be done, and I'm heartened by the statement of the Indian Army, the official statement, which was just released day before yesterday, that the army maintains a high state of alertness and is dominating the line of control. That is a heartening statement. Of course, we know that hostility from Pakistan is going to be continuous. It will never come down, but it will be dealt with appropriately.
All right. On that note, we're going to dip into a short break. Appreciate everybody who joined. We'll be right back.